YouTube, welcome back to the Artifact Cup 18, where we're going to be watching Last Rites as the Knef going up against Coercer as Soban. These are the two DLC factions, so this is going to be pretty cool. I don't know how Coercer usually plays Soban. I've seen Last Rites play Soban before. I've also seen him play Knef, and he plays some fun Knef builds. Last Rites is also, he runs the Dreamlands channel on YouTube that has some great content if you like Deserts of Kharak, or also I think he shows like some StarCraft and other RTS. He's really got some great videos. Like if you were wanting to get into the multiplayer on Deserts of Kharak, I would highly recommend that you go look at his channel. And he gives you lots of great like faction introductions, some build orders, fun battles. He's much more knowledgeable about the game than I am, and he does a great job casting stuff. So I'll have a link in the description if you want to go check him out. Please do. Again, his channel is Dreamlands on YouTube. Now his opponent over here is Coercer, and I've seen Coercer play before. He is also an excellent player, so I expect great things from both these players. The map is Kalash Teeth, and let's kind of take a look at the overview and then down in. You can see that to get a carrier to the other side of the map, they actually have to go all the way around and through. So it kind of has this Z shape to it, or an S shape, depending on how you want to look at it. So the carriers cannot cut through these, but other units can. These create choke points, and they also create you know, kind of ways for rush and surprise and flanking. Really a small map that's typically pretty fast combat, but sometimes can see late game engagements. You can see the 3 resourcing positions, and then the extraction zones, and then the 3 artifacts here. So pretty straightforward. Let's kind of take a look at the builds. We have a base runner with a blast drone. So blast drones are unique to the Knef. Stupid update things always show up whenever I'm trying to record. Give me just a second, I gotta tab back in, I'm gonna miss the action. Alright, so we got 2 blast drones. The base runner can train these blast drones. I believe they're 150 construction units. I could be wrong, but if you can get in and take down a couple salvagers with them, they can sometimes pay off. So you can see the blast drones coming in. They do get 1 salvager, so not exactly a straight trade there. Coercer probably got the better of that from a money standpoint, but disruption is usually the goal with the blast drones. We have the first sand skimmer up for Last Rites, and he's coming out with more sand skimmers. The first AAV is now up for the Coercer and his Soban forces. And a nice positioning of it here too. It can kind of use these dunes to hide and also cover some ground from up here. So looks like a blast drone maybe got a piece of that LAV. Not sure what was going on. There's some long haul mining going on for Coercer, and it looks like we are doing some long haul mining. Probably he's researching. He hasn't done refinery mode yet. Looks like there's an AAV nuisance raid that's coming in. It looks like a blast drone coming up, maybe to try and help shut down the AAVs. Because now Last Rites is going to be in trouble. There's the 3rd AAV out. A 2nd one's almost up here to push. So this could be pretty painful for Last Rites. He does not have. He does have a assault ships research, but there's none on his queue. Looks like he's going to try and use his carrier. So at this point, pretty big damage being done to Last Rites and his salvaging operation. He should be able to keep this salvaging operation intact, but he's taken some damage from the AAVs. He's got a assault ship coming out. So we should see, yep, an assault ship's up on the field, so this will help him start. But I mean, there's been some pretty significant damage here, and Coercer is coming across with more armored assault vehicles. There is going to be an artifact capture, and with the Knef, the more power that he can get, the better it is for the missile systems on his carrier. And for the Soban, the more power they get, the better it's going to be for their armed logistics modules. So what makes the Knef and the Soban unique? For the Knef, they are Gaussian-like in terms of units, but their carrier has a special missile system that can pour out cruise missiles at a high rate. Not as destructive a cruise missile as the Coalition gets, but there's lots of them. So the Knef have that, and they also have really good siege cruisers. The Soban have special logistics modules. Now, logistics modules allow you to have more units on the field, and the Soban logistics modules can be weaponized once the carrier has enough power. Look at the disruption of the resourcing here. I would say that at this point, Last Rites has got to be significantly behind in resourcing. He has some assault ships up, but they're almost kind of just trading here with some pretty well upgraded armored assault. No upgrades yet on the AAV that I saw, but a nice cruise missile there is going to shut down that AAV. More AAVs up. The first artifact is captured, but there's AAVs on the field, and I'm pretty sure that the base runner is going to die. So let's see what Last Rites can do as an answer to all this. So far, he's been extremely disrupted. He hasn't completed refinery mode due to a lack of resources here, and you can see there's nothing on the production queue for him. And he's yet to research railgun fabrication as well. So economically speaking, Coercer is doing better. He is still long-hauling his second location, but his aggression has paid dividends, in my opinion. If we go to resources and just take a look, Coercer sitting on a pile of resources, whereas Last Rites, you can see, kind of struggling to get the resources in here.
Command verified.
So let's go back to the production queue so we can see what's coming up off of production. Another assault ship coming up for Last Rites. He's got a little bit of cruise missile power now. A clean miss there, though. So he's going to have to wait for more missiles. Another miss. So if Coercer is good with his micro, he can make Last Rites miss. And you can see the AAVs here. Nice upgrades. They've got armor and damage upgrades. No upgrades on the assault ships, and you can see there at only 6 armor versus 13 armor. That's a big difference. Now, of course, the assault ship does a lot of damage compared to the AAV, but the armor difference is significant as well. So 2 assault ships up. That'll help. But this is still trouble for Last Rites, and the longer it goes on, the more damage Coercer is going to be able to put down. And here comes an artifact capture. And like I said, I have no idea what's on the tech tree for Coercer because we're not watching it from his point of view. I can only see the tech tree for Last Rites. And at this point, his tech tree has kind of been gimped by having to try and keep up with the rush of Coercer.
Destination logged in.
Rally point marked.
He's got some light attack vehicles skimming in now. They can be shut down pretty well by the assault ship. But these, the assault ship. These AAVs have been a huge nuisance. Still long-hauling resources for Coercer, but yeah. So neither player has a crazy economy going yet. 1-to-1 in terms of artifacts. Just kind of see what happens here. Still no production cruiser refinery mode, just again lack of resources here. Now there's 3 assault ships up, but these 3 AAVs are pushing back towards the resourcing, and Last Rites doesn't have any scouting on it at the moment, so he's pushing in center. Maybe trying to go do some economic damage of his own is his plan, but at the same time he's going to have to be able to protect his home base, and let's see if his missiles allow him to do that. He's got 1 assault ship back here against 3 AAVs. That's not going to work. But let's, again, see if the missiles can... Oh, strike fighters are up. Quite a lot of strike fighters, and they are going to go for a production cruiser snipe. And if Last Rites loses this production cruiser, the game is over. And he is going to lose this production cruiser. This is a calculated strike by Coercer. He knew how many strike fighters he needed, and he got the job done. So Last Rites is pretty much out of this game, in my opinion. Yep, and he concedes defeat there. So Last Rites gets taken by Coercer in a pretty convincing victory there. Just the early aggression with the blast drone didn't do enough damage. Coercer got his AAVs in early, and Last Rites just he wasn't able to answer it. So let's see what happens in Game 2. So Last Rites has to win Game 2 if he wants to stay in. If Coercer wins, then he moves on in the tournament. Alright, here we are in Game 2. Again, the players keep their factions. We're going to go to the Canyon Outpost map, which is actually a 4-player map. It's made for 2v2. Lots of fun choke points on this map. It's rather large. It has the potential to be less rushy because of the size of it. So let's see if that's how it plays out. Like, will this lead to a more macro game? Here's the sweet red and black Soban forces or Soban forces, however it's pronounced, of Coercer. And then on the other side of the map, which is revealed, this time in the red, Last Rites and his Knef. I like switching up and watching alternating games from player to player. Maybe that's confusing sometimes to the viewer because of the red and white, but I tried to announce it, yes. So this time, the white color on the mini-map is going to be Coercer, and the red is Last Rites. Remember that Coercer is up 1-0. If he wins this one, he's going to move on to the next round. This is still the round of 16 in the tournament. After this match, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the round of 8 and then the finals. I need to hurry up. I may just skip straight to the finals because the next Artifact Cup is coming up this Saturday. So by the time I actually finish this one, the next one may have taken place, and we can show some more of that if you are enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying casting these tournaments. I think this game is a whole lot of fun. It's got a lot of strategy in it, and I love the maps and just the gameplay. I love everything about it. It's a lot of fun. Look at all the terrain on this map, too. Look at these dunes providing blocking to the line of sight to the home resourcing. Again, dunes over here, the rock formations, more rock formations, and you can see this wrecked spaceship out here in the center. And then the kind of the bridges in between it, allowing for more choke points. So this map has tons of terrain and lots of potential strategy. And if you look at it from a resourcing standpoint, there are a lot of resources on the map. There's 6 resourcing locations, because typically this is made again for 2v2. So the players are going to start out with very resource-rich home locations, and you can see that they're both going to be pulling a lot of resources early. If we look at the research here, we've got AAV's research, and let's see what he moves into next as far as Coercer's plan. He's going to pick Railgun, so Coercer is moving into Railgun. And in terms of production, Last Rites is putting the first sand skimmer out. You can see both players kind of going for a bit of a macro build here. The first AAV is up for Coercer. Let's see if he goes for the same strategy of an AAV push early. Let's get up on this AAV and get some cool views of it moving through the canyon outpost here that is this map.
Armored assault in service.
These maps are beautiful. They really did a good job. Love it. So you can see him moving out here, see the wrecked ship there in the center.
Armored assault online.
This game has such a nice environment to it.
Orders green.
Really enjoy what they did with it.
Heavy vehicle armor upgraded.
Alright, so he just hit an armor upgrade.
Ready, enemy contact on the board.
So he's completed heavy vehicle armor 1.
Enemy sand skimmer on approach.
So he's spotted a sand skimmer out here. LAV's pushed it back. Sand skimmer's faster, they can get away. There's 2 sand skimmers. They may try and team up on it.
Armored assault in
So
service.
3 sand skimmers in total up, but now 4 AAVs up. So Coercer's ahead in the military department here.
Hostile contact
It
on
looks
the board.
like
LAV taking effective fire.
we kind of have like
Carrier power
a
reserve
grab here
expanded.
going on by Last Rites. In terms of resources, he's trying to get greedy fast on
Hostile unit
resources.
marked.
Going to his third location. It's long haul, but it looks like he does have refinery mode this time for his production cruiser, which is a big deal because it allows his production cruisers to receive
LAV
resources.
destroyed.
And of course, the Soban can use a support cruiser to receive resources. The difference between the coalition type faction and the Gaussian type factions when it comes to resources is the production cruiser also creates units, most of the
Enemy
units,
contact on sensors.
outside of cruiser class. Alright, AAVs and assault ships facing off this time, so the armor upgrade's definitely going to help Coercer. Look at the high ground advantage here, though, for the assault ship. That's a big deal. So, but the damage upgrades, or the armor upgrades are significant. Got a cruise missile up. Did do some splash damage.
Push through.
Enemy
A better
armor
response
inbound.
so far from Last Rites. Meaning he has a response at this point. Now, right now, he does have a bit of a micro mistake here. Kind of. His attack is focused on the weaker one, but he could have gotten some extra shots in at this one.
Armored
But
unit
it's not a
lost.
huge deal. He didn't lose out too much there. And here's a backstab setup by Last Rites. There are AAVs for protection, and there's railguns, but at least it's going to give him some chance to try and disrupt rather than having constant disruption of his own operation. So he's got another production cruiser up. He's going to be able to take this mining location, and he's got decent protection at the moment.
Hostile strike craft eliminated.
Coercer is now churning out railguns, and let's take a look at his
Awaiting
tech.
hostile unit
He's
marked.
upgrading his carrier production, so he's about to be able to do double the production.
Enemy contact on the
And
board.
no other
Enemy engaging
upgrades
armored
here that
unit.
I've seen yet. Nothing in the fighter and gunship either.
Enemy sighted.
Down a smoke screen. Throw off any hostiles in the area.
New threat identified.
Nice smoke here to get some time through to get in and do some damage on the salvagers. I don't know if he'll actually get one or not.
Enemy contact on sensors.
These armored assaults just kind of sitting around the resourcing operation, so Coercer seems to be doing extremely good with his early game harassment here. That one gets shut down by Last Rites, so he's, like I said, he's definitely in a better position here. 4 railguns, 5 railguns up for Coercer. And Last Rites has another production cruiser coming up, it looks like, so he's really getting into, or no, is that a siege cruiser?
Attack vehicle online.
Copy. Railgun
I think that's a siege cruiser, maybe. If he's tried to rush to siege cruiser tech, that's going to give him a potential quick turnaround. Let's see what the cruiser is. I can't tell if it's a production or a siege cruiser. I'm just not real good at... That is a siege cruiser. Yep, so he's got a siege cruiser up. So Last Rites has assault ships and siege cruiser. Now, siege cruiser is long-range artillery, and if he does good scouting with the sand skimmers, he can do some extremely long-range damage to armored vehicles and light vehicles. Like I said, though, you got 5 railguns up for Coercer already.
Ready orders.
Coercer is... Let's see what he's working on from a upgrade standpoint. He's going to go for heavy vehicle armor 2, so he's about to get his railguns to be even more potent. Let's see whether he spots these units, because the siege cruiser can shoot these guys at this kind of range. It's a question of whether or not the scouting is there for... Okay, missile ship up, so he's ready for strike fighters this time. That's a good call. But there is no strike fighter research from Coercer, so at this point it's money, I wouldn't say wasted. We just... Okay, so the siege cruiser has now been spotted. The barrage is coming in, and Coercer is going to have to try and dodge it. So far, his railguns have stayed safe. The AAVs are going to have to, or the assault ships are going to have to protect the siege cruiser, who's going to try and use its long range. Now, the siege cruiser can fire over cover. That's one of its big advantages here. And you can see line of sight gets blocked quite easily on this map.
Railgun destroyed.
So 1 railgun down, and the siege cruiser is sticking close to its assault ship escort.
Move confirmed.
Enemy signature identified.
But it has to recharge the barrage. It may try and hit these railguns who are kind of off in the distance here. So let's see. There's another siege cruiser up, so now 2 siege cruisers. And it looks like another production cruiser and some more AAVs coming off, whereas there's base runners coming off for Coercer. So Coercer is hoping to run some artifacts at this point. And if he could get a really good armed logistics module network set up, there's a lot of choke points that he could try and shut down on this map and make life very difficult. Now, a siege cruiser could certainly help open up those choke points if he could get the right scouting. But Knef are not a strong scouting faction. They don't have like super tools for scouting like some of the factions do. Coalition has definitely got an advantage in the scouting department, I think, with the drone. But then the Gaussian also have a sensor probe, I think, that they can use.
Hostile armor on the board.
So 2 siege cruisers.
Enemy contact on the board.
Is that another? No, that's the production cruise that came out. So I think the Knef carrier is going to come forward. The question is, so we got 2 power reserve for the Soban, and he's got 2 power into his logistics modules, which means that he is,
Armored unit lost.
I think, going to be at moderate range and rate of fire increase. He's going to LAV armor at this point, so he's going to pump up his LAVs, and now assault cruiser is being researched for Coercer. So this could get into a game with lots of cruiser action, which would be pretty exciting.
Hostile armor on the board.
Now, assault cruisers are faster but shorter range than the siege cruiser, and we have an interceptor up. This is going to be a good play because there's no cover for the railguns. So the interceptor's just going to get free kills here. There is an LAV, but there's only 1, so I don't think it's going to have sufficient anti-air capability.
Enemy interceptor engaging unit. Base runner taking enemy fire.
Yeah, so he's going to lose a railgun there, and the siege cruisers are shooting at this base runner. No hits yet, but there's assault ships that can chase it down. But look at this push over here. So while that's going on in mid, a nice push of LAVs and railguns, so great micro over here. The missile ship is going to try, and wow, look at it getting some damage done on the railgun. Anti-air unit getting some work there. It has a mortar. Well, I don't know if these guys have a mortar ability. It does. It has a mortar ability, but now it's going to get chewed up by the railguns. It looks like the Knef carrier is trying to help push an artifact, and the artifact push was stopped. Coercer's artifact push. Sandskimmer's now coming in. Missile ship lives, actually, which is impressive. So the railgun's being temporarily annoying. Ooh, look at this, though. The 2 siege cruisers are going to push forward, and they could shut down mining over here, potentially. And I like this move by Last Rites, that getting aggressive. And I like the interceptors here, too, because currently there's no answer to the interceptors. There's still no missile ship. But it looks like he is going to research support cruiser anti-air. So his support cruisers would be able to be kept safe, but his railguns out of field like this are going to get picked apart by interceptors. So great play by Last Rites. This is giving him a distinct advantage in the build right now. The first, no, so that's a support cruiser. Last Rites now going into tactical bomber. So interesting to see, or is that a gunship? Could be a gunship. I think it's a tac bomber. Here comes the assault cruisers, or the siege cruisers, sorry. Gonna start trying to shut down mining, and then this armed logistics module as well. So those are expensive. Those aren't cheap. I think it's 250 construction units. Decent number of railguns over here, but again, I like the build here. There's safety from air with the missile ships. There's sandskimmers, there's interceptors to help support, so a nice combined arms build here. It looks like the carrier may push forward to try and push these guys back. The Soban carrier's not super threatening, but it's better than nothing.
Enemy forces have acquired an artifact.
Alright, so 1-to-1 in the artifact department. Look at the Knef carrier pushing the opposite flank right now. It's a pretty sweet idea. If he's got any power into his carrier for missiles, that could be extremely good. And there's a second artifact on the way, so he will have more power for his missiles. And then there could be some from research too. Now the barrage here coming in. So
Command carrier is taking hostile fire.
siege cruisers, though, I don't know if they have to sit still while they're barraging. They're going to have to fall back because the Soban carrier's pushing them. Assault carrier's up, but it's taking some pretty fierce damage here from the siege cruisers. The assault cruiser goes down. Interceptor's up, coming in and picking off more railguns, wrecking railguns.
A railgun has been lost.
Now he'll have to watch out. See, that support cruiser anti-air got one of his interceptors. But as long as the interceptors stay away from the support cruisers, the missile battery still hasn't been researched here. Now, assault cruiser anti-air might want to be researched if he's going to keep trying to push assault cruisers. Excellent play right now by Last Rites. I think he has the advantage here from a military standpoint. These siege cruisers will do excellent on this map because of all the terrain and choke points to keep them hidden. Really like it. Let's see what's going on. Support cruiser now supporting the railguns. This will help them stay safe from interceptors. Another siege cruiser up attacking a base runner right here. So this base runner gets caught out.
LAV construction complete.
So 2 artifacts for Last Rites, 1 for Coercer, and we have a pretty big military standoff at this point. Lots of base runners up. So many base runners up.
Combat alert. Base runner destroyed.
Okay, interceptors coming in. The support cruiser anti-air is going to be ferocious because there's plenty of support cruisers around, so lots of damage to the interceptors at this point.
Sensor post down.
No bombers actually up. Or Last Rites actually doing his bomber now. I think it's a bomber. I don't think these guys have gunships.
Enemy contact on the board.
Let's see what's happening here. So Last Rites falling back. Did he lost a... No, I think he's... Yeah, he lost a siege cruiser because I think he would have had 3. So he lost a siege cruiser, and I apologize for missing that.
Online. Artifact extraction in progress. Artifact coordinates locked.
The Knefi base runner is going to fall back, and then the siege cruiser is going to push up. As long as the siege cruiser... Oh, look at this. Siege cruiser on one side of the rocks, and the Knef carrier sneaking up on the other side. Going to push the railguns back and also give some potential scouting here. The barrage missing, though, for the siege cruiser. And the carrier now taking some pretty nasty damage, but the cruise missile capability here is significant. Oh, interceptors come right up into fire. So he's going to lose his interceptors here. Look at the support cruiser, like the chevrons on it. So you get veterancy on units here, and there's so many interceptors shot down that support cruiser's already up to like max veterancy. So this artifact push is going to be shut down. And it looks like this artifact's going to be pulled by Last Rites, so he's going to be trying to keep pulling artifacts.
Alert, base runner lost.
So 2 siege cruisers and a lot of assault ships here. 6 assault ships are going to be trying to go after the railguns. Now, railguns are great, but again, all the blocked line of sight on this map is going to make it challenging. Look at that armed logistics module dropped right on top of the assault ships here. See how it stuns them? But at the same time, they were able to kill it. But it did allow a trade there where he picked Coercer picked up an assault ship. Okay, there's now 3 siege cruisers again, so a significant amount of siege cruisers on the field. Look at the barrages coming in. None of them getting a great connection yet, but it's forcing, you can see the area denial here, basically forcing Coercer out of position, forcing him back, trapping him. Now the probe is keeping an eye on the Kharak carrier. Artifact being brought back, so it's going to be 3-1 by artifacts, and it looks like another artifact up over here, so potentially 4-1, which means the Kharak carrier is going to have absurd missile capability. More railguns churning out for the Soban. That is their specialty. So the Soban hoping to capitalize on the strength of their railguns, which have significant damage and armor upgrades. And here comes the cruise missiles from the Kharak carrier. Going to smoke those railguns. But there's more railguns in the back. See whether or not the... ooh, look at this nice little flanking attack here from these railguns too, where there's some long line of sight. Look at them able to use that long line of sight, destroying some assault ships. Now they got a clean shot at the siege cruiser, so this could be a problem. Those siege cruisers need to stay safe. They're expensive. But the Kharak carrier looking pretty powerful at the moment. Look at this nice backstab of sand skimmers streaming out from the production cruisers. Hopefully going to come in for a backstab back here. There's 2 artifacts in on the capture. This is looking very good for Last Rites at the moment. Looking very good for him.
Move out.
Definitely like the play so far.
Hostile unit marked.
These railguns had some serious veterancy. It's going to be kind of sad for Coercer to lose these. There's the 3rd artifact. This railgun is going to drop. It's getting overwhelmed by assault ships.
A railgun has been lost.
Yeah, look at the Kharak carrier back here. There is an assault cruiser up. Let's see if you got the anti-air. There is no anti-air on it, but going to Power Reserve 4 for the Soban, which is weird. You don't typically see them weaponize their carrier, and he's spewing out armed logistics modules. And with the higher Power Reserve, it'll be pretty helpful for him. But look at this backstab over here. Sand skimmers with a nice backstab. Now the assault cruisers should be able to shut this down. Let's watch that. Alright, so 1 artifact away. You can see the assault cruiser here, able to shut down sand skimmers. Relative ease. But they're still going to be doing some damage. Look at the assault cruisers pushing the Soban carrier back. That's going to be some big damage. And there's 2 precision bombers up for the Soban. Or for the Kharak, my bad. I didn't catch their target. It could have just been the carrier.
Sensor post down.
That must have been in some battle here because there's only 1 siege cruiser left. Again, I apologize for missing that. Yeah, it looks like the remains of siege cruisers here. So a pretty big victory there for Coercer to be able to take down a couple of those siege cruisers. But look at this. There is a support cruiser back here, but there is a bomber inbound. The bomber's pretty survivable, but the support cruiser's got some nice anti-air. Oh, look at that. If the bomber gets, if it can get 1 more, no, it's going to run. Probably a good call. That support cruiser's almost dead.
Push through.
Hostile strike craft destroyed.
Coercer is looking a little more strong in his position at the moment.
Move order confirmed.
He could potentially get the microwave emitter for his carrier, which is a long range. It's kind of the Soban equivalent of a cruise missile. Ooh, this siege cruiser is probably going to go down, but let's see what the cruise missiles are able to accomplish here.
Ready alert.
They miss.
Kharak carrier inbound.
So this is going to end up being a very effective push. Tactical bomber up, gets a railgun. It needs to get this support cruiser, because the support cruiser is going to shoot it down. Looks like it's going to get away safe. Oh, look at that pickup by the Kharak carrier. And the next siege cruiser's up. And another siege cruiser on the queue, as well as more missile ships.
Hostile contact on the board.
Hostile forces are pursuing an artifact. Proceed to rally point.
Alright, so the Kharak are pulling an artifact, so this could be a winning artifact. So at this point, there's going to have to be a push by the Soban. They go after this base runner. You can see the Kharak carrier launching volley after volley of missiles, and the Knaff carrier and the siege cruiser are going to have to hold off the forces of Coercer long enough for this capture to be made. Look at the scouting back here from the probe too, and you can see the Soban carrier beelining back here to try and stop that as well. So obviously Coercer very aware that this means the game for him. The precision bomber continuing to get some work done.
Siege cruiser detected.
Okay, so 2 siege cruisers up now. Look at that drop in the arm logistics modules right here in the way to be annoying. Great cruise missiles there. See the base runner, the Knaff carrier, or the Soban carrier making as quick of a run as it can. Look at the barrage here, shutting down like the area of denial here. This is brilliant. Using the barrage to deny this area, then the bomber comes in for more cleanup, so damaging the Soban forces heavily. The base runner now waiting on protection from its carrier.
Contact on the board. Base runner taking enemy fire.
So this looks pretty good.
Punch it.
Looks pretty good for Last Rites.
Move confirmed.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Sensor post down.
Prep for mobilization.
Enemy signature identified.
Get back in here. So precision bomber up again. Let's check its target. It's the enemy carrier, but the base runner's putting up a little bit of AA fire. It's not real significant.
A railgun has been lost.
Base runner is en route.
An LAV has been lost.
Artifact extraction in progress.
So it looks like Coercer trying to move an artifact, but it doesn't matter if he can't stop this one. Yeah.
Siege cruiser spotted.
So it looks like Last Rites being very careful with his artifact here, because he knows the potential vulnerabilities. Here comes the TAC bomber.
Green line confirmed.
Another railgun down.
Sensor post has been lost.
Deploy a turret on that location.
Looks like some of the
Railgun destroyed.
resources running dry for Coercer over here. Look at the stream of sand skimmers coming out too. This is looking like a good position
Hostile bomber in the air. Moving.
for
Bring
Last
engines to
Rites.
speed.
He's gonna start making the push. The Soban carrier is just not real strong,
Construction units exhausted.
and it looks like he's got a support cruiser up to try and heal it. It needs to follow the carrier and heal the carrier and help protect it from these bombers. But the siege cruisers are here too, and I just don't see how the Soban carrier has the power to push through this and stop the capture. The Knaff carrier is now in position, and unless there's some kind of quick assault here,
Enemy armor
this lane right here is blocked by assault ships. They're going to shut down all these LAVs. This is looking like it's Last Rites game here, and he's going to stay in the competition. This is probably going to go to a game 3 unless there's some kind of extremely clutch stop.
Hostile strike craft eliminated. Alert. Hostiles engaging
Here it
command
comes.
carrier.
So the final artifact coming in. Knaff carrier nearby. Look at the barrage in the background, just denying Coercer any chance of stopping that. Great play by Last Rites. So it is going to go to a game 3, and I will see you there. All right, game 3 on the Boneyard, 1-1. Couple of great games so far. Coercer winning a convincing early victory in game 1. Last Rites winning a nice artifact capture victory in game 2 on Canyon Outpost. And like I said, here we are in game 3. I'm going to turn on the reveal all. Let's switch over to the production queue. And here is the Knaff carrier of Last Rites, who so far has proved his capability to use the Knaff to good effect in this tournament. Really enjoyed that last game. And then there is the ever dangerous Coercer over here. His AAV rush having absolutely shut down Last Rites in the first match. Boneyard is a, it's not a tiny map, it's a pretty good size map, but it's got a lot of clear lanes of fire through the center here. Now there's definitely some stuff to break up lines of sight, but some railguns can get some really nice lanes in the middle of this map, so definitely not something that you want to forget. Let's take a look at the build order so far for Last Rites, who is basically cranking up some sand skimmers.
Move into position and charge away.
And I'm going to assume we're going to see Coercer go for the early AAV build, see the extraction points, the artifact locations, and the mining locations here. Down in the center of this map, like I said, there's some flat area. This area here, where in the campaign, this is where the carrier Capisi parks for a while. This is an unpassable. Actually, I think you can drive down through that too. So there's some breakage to the line of sight. Some of these little buildings and stuff down here in the base, and like I said, some dunes that are blocking line of sight from the flanks. So it adds some opportunity to get some quick moving vehicles around the flanks.
Go ahead.
So going straight to railgun fabrication here for Last Right. So he's gone sand skimmer and then railgun. So he's going to switch things up a little bit. I wonder if this is going to be assault railguns. We'll see how that goes.
Rally point marked.
And I'm starting to see some rally points coming off a Coercer here. It looks like he's got a rally point across the map for some of his military units.
Salvager awaiting orders.
And it looks like...
Capacity increase.
Command verified.
So he's got
Rally
railgun
point
tech.
marked.
He's got his fleet capacity upgrades. No production cruiser refinery mode yet, but probably not enough resources just this instant.
Grid mark
Sand
verified.
skimmer now in service.
He does have the production cruiser over here,
We
but
have
it's still a
located an
long haul
artifact.
mine. But he is doing that long haul mining, and I think he got to his long haul mining a little bit earlier than Coercer. Coercer is doing an AAV rush once
Railgun
again.
production now
You can
available.
see his AAVs moving out across the map here.
Move to destination.
Whoa,
Command verified.
weird things are happening over the dune.
Enemy armor detected. Destination verified.
Rally point marked.
So here's the AAV.
Coordinates verified.
There were sand skimmers up though, so pretty sure Last Rights is going to catch this. Yep, he's got a good scouting network up right now, so 3 AAVs, and he has gone straight to assault railguns, the first of which is online now, should be coming out of the production cruiser. So he's going to have a great counter to this early AAV rush. So
Rally point
um,
acknowledged.
I guess at this point that Last Rights may have been predicting this early AAV rush, and I almost wonder if Coercer pushed this rush because he felt confident after it won him game
Assault
1.
railgun online.
So here comes the attack.
Target position salvage. You're
The
taking
AAV is pushing in. Here comes the assault railgun. If they can stay at a distance from the AAVs, they should slaughter them quite nicely.
scans. Destination locked in.
There is no armor upgrades yet. There is an armor upgrade on the assault railguns. Now, assault railguns are a faster version of a railgun. They fire faster, but they sacrifice power and weapons for speed. So their weapons not quite as powerful.
To extract resources. Move us out. Maneuvering out.
And you can see the micro here that the AAVs are trying to use this little dune here to protect themselves. But as soon as they move out, the assault railguns put a pretty big beating on them.
Command verified.
So the AAV rush is not going to work this time.
Assault railgun
At least it doesn't look like it.
New coordinates verified.
Railgun armor. So he's doing a little bit of distraction here for sure.
Target zone.
And the assault railguns are having to try to find the appropriate window. So Coercer being very annoying,
Destination.
despite the fact that you kind of have a counter build up here. Let's see whether or not he's going to pull back or try and continue. He's probably going to try and continue it. If he can get these assault railguns close enough and get on top of him, he can do some damage.
Coordinates verified. Advance enemy armor
There is
detected.
one more AAV in the back to protect against any potential backstabs, and I like the scouting here from Last Rights, who's just kind of relentlessly trying to gather information. But look at this, he is disrupting the mining. Still long haul mining over here for Coercer, but it's helping him catch up if he was behind just a little bit. And now the assault railgun's going to make a push.
Target established.
Should be able to push this armor out of here.
Commanded.
But see again how the dunes break up the line of sight, and then the AAVs are going to try and turn around and get right back into it. So the assault railgun's going to have to use their speed to effectively stay ahead. Now, LAVs are not particularly good against assault railguns either. So if we want to see an effective answer to the assault railguns, Coercer's going to have to go into standard railguns for himself, because Sopan railguns are quite good. Or he can also maybe transition to air, or some kind of cruiser or something to try and get the upper hand on that. I mean, LAVs can damage assault railguns, but it's just the assault railguns are faster and they do a lot more damage to LAVs.
Combat orders.
Yep, here comes the airstrike. So this was definitely one of the potential counters, and he's using it. And it's going to do extremely well because there's no protection for these assault railguns at the moment. I would think that it would be good for Last Rights to split up as much as possible and not allow the splash damage from these missiles to damage multiple units like is happening right now. But he is determined to push right now.
Salvager online.
Enemy
So we're going to have some kind of answer to the air. You can see, look at this, already 3 chevrons up on one of these strike fighters.
assault railgun destroyed.
And now the armed logistics module is causing trouble too, stunning some of the assault railguns.
Production cruisers refinery capability.
Alright, production cruiser refinery mode is up. Railgun research, or assault ship still not researched.
Salvager moving.
It looks like siege cruiser maybe, or no, would he have to do honor guard and then siege? I can't remember how the tech's up, or maybe it's assault ship and then siege cruiser.
Additional CUs required.
He's still working on assault railguns, but he's going to need an answer for air. He has missile ship research. Actually, is that a missile ship?
Assault
Ugh.
railgun ready
There's
for
the missile
service.
ship.
Acknowledge.
So missile ship's going to come up, so he'll be able to counter the strike fighters.
Coordinates verified. Advanced to
So
distant work.
nice switch over. Here comes the support cruiser. So Coercer now mining 2 locations at full. Last Right's mining 3 locations now, and he'll be mining them at full.
Silos now online.
So probably a bit of a lead in economy for Last Rights if he can hold that for just a little while. You can see not terribly accurate, but
Missile ship online.
a little bit better than a standard railgun versus these light attack craft. Sure enough, you can see this thing kind of moving down through that little spot I told you. They can move through there.
Point verified. Mobilizing.
Okay, strike fighters are up. They may be coming to look for more assault railguns. There's a missile ship up over here. And I don't know if he knows that the fighters are coming, but this positioning's actually quite good. Now they could probably snipe the missile ship because there's so many strike fighters, but it's going to do some damage to them. Ooh, they're going to try and snipe a production cruiser. So having the missile ship here is pretty clutch.
Enemy forces.
Questions whether or not it could save it.
Salvage are under attack.
I think it might be able to save the production cruiser, if only just. Yeah, it's going to save it. So that missile ship positioning was extremely fortunate. Otherwise, it definitely would have died to the strike fighter. So that turns into a pretty clutch play in defense, and it's going to force Coercer to rethink his air push. And now the assault railguns are going to be more deadly again because there are missile ships up, and they're guarding his production cruisers, not his railguns. So it looks like that his defense is more concerned about his economy than he is his military, and that's not a bad idea in some ways. So the assault railguns are making a push. There's a base runner for Coercer thinking about an artifact grab. And it looks like the assault railguns are going to go ahead and kite back. They've got some light attack vehicles in pursuit, but they're not going to stay in pursuit.
Research complete.
So yep, more assault railguns coming up. A base runner now up for Last Right, so both players may be looking to get some artifact work done. There is an artifact run in progress. Let's see what tech we're looking at here. Siege cruiser fabrication is now possible.
New course. Acknowledge.
No extra power reserves. Let's take a look. So railgun armor has been up to level 2.
Assault
We're now going to get radar-guided missiles for the missile ships, which will give them better protection against the air. The single strike fighter here that's pretty damaged going to come and try and get some damage done on these railguns. And it looks like the railguns, I mean, they could probably try and come up over here on top of this dune to get some positioning to try and keep that artifact out.
Assault railgun
Now, since there's no missile ships up here, I guess technically you could see an airstrike come in to stop it. There are still 3 strike fighters on the Soban carrier.
Needing command.
You can see here the assault railgun's going to be asserting some dominance in this situation. And as they kite back, they'll do a lot of damage. The strike fighters are up. Let's see if the missile ship is close enough for support. Yep, there comes the radar-guided missile.
Railgun ready for service.
So the missile ship's going to push up, keep the strike fighters back.
Enemy interceptor destroyed. Assault railgun
They did
destroyed.
manage to kill an assault railgun, and then they're going to use some smoke here to try and make the artifact push. So Coercer's looking pretty committed to this artifact push, whereas over here Last Rights might have a pretty unhindered run at it. Look at all the smoke here.
Zone designated.
Let's see if the assault railguns are capable of taking out this base runner fast enough. There's still one strike fighter being very annoying. It almost looks like he's just going to fall back and let him have the artifact.
Mobilizing now.
I kind of feel like that he could have stopped that.
Assault railgun lost.
Hostile forces have extracted an artifact.
Interesting.
Research complete.
Maybe I'm wrong though. I'm not
Online.
super talented at this game, but I kind of feel like he could have stopped that. Maybe he was just being a little bit safe with his units. Still a lot of AAVs on the field for Coercer. Some LAVs coming up now, so maybe he's going to try and use a ball of LAVs and AAVs to try and get a hold of the assault railguns. So Last Rights has an army baron down on him. We'll see whether or not he gets his artifact capture in.
New targets on
And since a lot of the forces for the Soban are pushing towards the artifact capture, if he had the scouting to know, this would be a great time to push in here, I think, with the assault railguns. The armed logistics modules, though, are going to make this frustrating because they can stun.
hostile scanner detected. Armored vessel.
There, he's using, yeah, look at that, using his missile ships, gets the armed logistics module, nice play. He can pull back and guard his missile ships with the assault railguns, which are going to be decent. He did get the artifact capture.
Contact.
It looks like he may try and save his base runner from that position. It's going to be sad if he loses the missile ship here, but I think he can get it out of there. Yeah, he's got it out of there. So I don't think that Coercer is going to get the missile ship. Over here, though, the base runner is going to get destroyed by AAVs, and the assault ship is going to retreat.
Ready for contact. Base runner lost.
Let's take a look at the tech tree here.
Awaiting orders.
He has done the siege cruiser fabrication tech.
Acknowledge.
Let's see if there's anything else here.
Confirmed. Combat move underway.
The Kharak carrier is coming out. Not a lot of power on the Kharak carrier at this point. Interceptor fabrication now underway too. So let's see, the assault railgun's pushing up. There's quite a lot of AAVs here, so they're going to need to fall back and kite them out.
Assault railgun online.
So the assault railguns are definitely having a decent time here.
Destination.
Let's see, there's a base runner up for Coercer. See whether or not he's going to make an artifact run. The Kharak carrier pushing up to try and help lock down the center, so not a whole lot of defenses back here for the resourcing, but there are a few units back here around the Kharak carrier. There's no missile ships to protect this ball of railguns right now, and there are, I mean, it looks like there's 3 strike fighters in the hangar.
Identified. Make for move. Active scan.
So this ball of railguns would be pretty vulnerable at the moment.
Missile ship ready for
And it looks like there's more armed logistics modules coming out here from the Soban carrier, and you can see it's stunning these units. Railguns are going to fall back. What kind of power do we got in the Soban carrier? Not a lot.
Hostile scanner neutralized.
So neither player rocking a lot of power. The siege cruiser's up. So now, with good scouting,
Course marked and locked.
like maybe with a sand skimmer or two, the Kharak carrier could potentially get a lot of damage done. It's going to start firing some cruise missiles to help get rid of the armed logistics modules.
Destination locked in. Neutralize all targets on advance.
2 siege cruisers now.
Rally points acknowledged.
Cruiser taking hostile fire.
Enemy forces have retrieved an artifact.
Alright, so taking down some of the armed logistics modules, and the siege cruisers are pushing up. Let's see what they decide to do next. A lot of railguns to help protect them.
Point entered.
Artifact identified.
New course
I
locked in.
don't know
Artifact
what...
extraction in progress.
It's hard for me to tell what Coercer has in mind here.
Enemy base runner inbound on sensors. Combat alert. Reverend forces are attacking.
So base runner gets taken out. Siege cruisers, though, are about to get hit by a whole lot of AAVs. They're going to turn around and fire, though. Here comes the strike fighters. Causing some damage, not a lot of damage. Here comes the assault railguns now, too. I don't know if the strike fighters have enough firepower to take out the siege cruiser. They might.
Enemy armor eliminated. Offensive move underway.
It's going to be close. Yeah, I think they're going to get it.
Armor detected.
Yep, they got it. So they got a siege cruiser, but there's a missile ship coming up now. And there's still a siege cruiser left. It's in pretty darn good health. There's a lot of railguns, and Coercer's army is pretty depleted at the moment. Second artifact on the way for Last Rites.
Hostile
So
scanner
he's
detected.
got a decent position here. With the interceptors up now, he's going after railguns.
Bomb railgun neutralized.
And there's not any anti-air capability up at the moment. So these interceptors, there's quite a few of them too. On the queue, they're not built yet. So he showed his hand there with the interceptors, and it looks like he's going to try and force back some of the resourcing. This could be a backstab. Yeah, it looks like a backstab here to try and get some of the attention off of his own forces. So I like seeing players do that. Like if you have too much raiding going on in your own backline, sometimes you just got to push forward with something just to get some of that attention from the enemy army away from your own territory. So second artifact capture. Here a siege cruiser firing away. Armed logistics modules being dropped. Those are not cheap. Some nice scouting here from the outcoming sand skimmers, which happens to be good fortune here. Lets Last Rites know that he's about to get backstabbed, while his assault railguns are pushing in from this flank. Let's take a look at the stats here. Very nice armor upgrades. There are strike fighters up, so this is going to be a bit of punishment here, because there's no missile ship around. It's pushing up. And a lot of damage done here before the missile ships could get in position. But they managed to get one of the strike fighters, so taking out some of these strike fighters is going to be a big benefit for Last Rites, because it'll get this annoyance out of his way and cost precious resources from Coercer. The backstab was shut down.
Coordinates verified.
And, ooh, look at this bombardment from the siege cruiser right on target. Lots of damage done, and it's forcing the enemy back, and that could give his railguns a chance to reposition here. Excellent siege cruiser bombardment. Look at that brutal bombardment here on the desert. Look at all the cratering and stuff. So cool. This game is beautiful. K'nef cruise missiles coming in, but the Soban railguns hitting back hard against the K'nef carrier. I don't know if there's enough of them to take it down. 2 siege cruisers. I'm thinking that Coercer is looking in pretty rough shape here because the power level on this K'nef carrier is significant at this point. So I'm thinking that Last Rites is in a very, very good position here. He's got missile ships, he's got interceptors up, and I'm not sure if Coercer has an answer to all the interceptors. You can see them flying around the battlefield, taking out railguns. The siege cruisers are sure to start unleashing the barrages soon. The K'nef carrier itself can be laying down a pretty significant cruise missile. So I'm pretty sure that Coercer is going to lose here. Here comes the bombardment. The Soban railguns, though, firing back at the siege cruiser, and if they're given enough time, they will do some serious damage to the siege cruiser. You can see that right here. Not a lot of damage done to the carrier here. It's a pretty nasty looking bombardment, but wasn't as bad as it looked. One of the siege cruisers just went down to the Soban railguns there. So Coercer fighting back as best he can, but he is definitely kind of pinned up, and there's artifacts about to be retrieved. Two more artifacts, which will make a game-winning push if Last Rites can get it. And it looks like Last Rites, instead of trying to push this position up here, is focusing more on getting his artifact to safety. This one back here, he's going to have to watch out for. And then this missile ship right here could potentially get killed by this railgun in a long-range engagement. Looks like it pulled out of range. Now the siege cruiser is a target, so the siege cruiser is going to want to watch out. Here comes a bombardment. Let's see how well placed it is. Ooh, pretty well placed. And then here comes the interceptors ripping up Soban railguns. And now they could take anti-aircraft fire, I think, probably from a support cruiser if it's been researched. Oh, look at the interceptors, just absolutely picking away like a hive of angry bees here. The 4th artifact is captured, and you can see the 5th actually right here on the way. Look at the battle here. The Soban are pinned up in their corner. The K'nef carriers just got them pinned in, and there's not much they can do about it. Here comes the cruise missiles. Support cruiser just went down. I heard from the chatter. Railguns are taking fire. The assault railguns coming in. I just want you all to see some of this beautiful cinematic action. This looks like that Last Rites is about to take this game, or he's about to take this game and move on to the round of 8 from the round of 16. Here comes the final capture. So that's it, folks. 2 wins in a row by artifact capture with some very crafty K'nef play from Last Rites. Not to rag on Coercer, he is a great player. And as you saw in Game 1, he came out and owned that game. But man, great series here between Last Rites and Coercer. I loved it. Hope you all liked it too. I'll be back soon with more Deserts of Kharak action. In fact, as you're watching this, I'm pretty sure that Artifact Cup 19 is taking place. But I'll take my time. Let's cast some of these. I think you all are enjoying them. I'm enjoying them. Of course, I may take a break after casting this one to, make sure I get time in on other games too. But I'm loving Deserts of Kharak. See you next time.